All right, so in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about route parameters. But first of all, I'd like you to explain to me exactly what they are. Okay, after I explain it to you. So, they're a part of a URL that can be changed. So, we usually see them on URLs for individual records, such as profile routes. For example, we have a route like this, mysite.com/user, and then / whatever the username is. / Alex or / Wilma, like so, and then the rest of the URL stays the same. But these things here in the end, they change to show the different data for each individual user. So they show a user profile page, and then the page template is going to be the same, but the data they show is different based on this URL. The same components, but inside those components, we're showing different data based on the URL itself or based on the ID or the username or, well, whatever else is the route parameter. So these things right here are the changing parts, right? And these are the route parameters. So we're going to look at how we can deal with them in React right now. So imagine that we have a couple of cards like this on this page, and each one of them represents one particular person. So we want to click on one of the cards, and then it's going to take us to a URL, which is / and then the name of whatever that post is, right? Okay, so how do we set up a route for this kind of behavior? Well, first, let's go to where our routes are set up in the app.js file. We can see our different routes down here. All right, so now then what I'd like to do is place another route at the bottom, and then this route is going to have a path, and it's going to be equal to something, and we'll come back to that in a second. And then I'll close that route off, and we're going to pass this as a component just in a second as well, but I'm just giving you a brief overview. So now the path right here, we want it to be a route parameter. So something that is going to be variable and can be changed. So what I'm going to do is say / card / and then whatever the username is. And now the way that we define a route parameter is by a colon, first off. And then we give that route parameter a name. Now, this can be whatever you want, but obviously, in order to make this logical, I'm going to call this user. So now we're saying right here that we are expecting a URL, which is going to be / and then a route parameter called user. So let's say that if that user then is Alex, then the user name would match the Alex card. And if it is Wilma, then the user would match Wilma. Okay? Okay. So we'll get back to this in a second. But for now, let's create this component, which is going to show a single card. So in the components folder, I'm going to right-click here, and I'm going to create a new file called card.js. So in here, we need to define a component which is going to be a single card. And I'm going to use state in this component, so I will do it as a class-based component. And I'm going to import React from React. And now I'm going to create this class. So I'll say class, then call it card extends React dot component. Now inside of here, I'm going to create a render method and then return some JSX in here. And we already have cards inside of our components. So I will open the contact file and copy this. and then I can paste it inside of the card component. In this case, I don't want to show any text right here, so I'm going to delete this paragraph and delete this contact text as well. I'll just say card instead. And then this is where we're going to output the route parameter. So let's just export this component. Export default card like so. Okay. So now what we're going to do is when this component is loaded up, we're going to try to identify what the route parameter is because we need to know that username in order to know which card we want to show here. So we need to know the name of that post so we can request it. So we'll save that and then go back to the JS app because we need to import that component right now. And then /components and then /card. So now we want to show the card component inside of here when we go to /card/ and something that is the name of the user. All right, so let's save this and try it out now. I'll go to a browser and go to /card/1234. And then we can see this thing right here. That's the card component. So how do we then identify the route parameter inside this component? Okay, so let's go to the card.js. And this is where we want to identify what the route parameter is. And I think a good time to do that is in the component did mount lifecycle method, just like we use for fetching data. Except now we're going to find out the route parameter inside this lifecycle method. So why don't we go ahead and create that component did mount function. And then inside of here, I will say, let user equal. And the way we find the route parameter is by using that extra bit of information that the React router provides to us on the props object. Remember when we first started looking at the React router, we got all the extra information attached to the props object about our route? So we can actually grab that by saying this.props.match.params. And then the name of our route parameter. So now we called it over here as a user. So then all we need to do is say .user. But before we do that, I would like to show it to you. So I will say console log this.props. Save this, and let's have a look at our console. So remember, when this component is being used as a route, then we get access to that extra information on the props object automatically. If we open up the console over here, then we should be able to see that we have this thing right here. Okay, so we have the match property, and then down here, we have a property called params. And we can see that we have a user parameter, which is grabbing the value of this thing right here. Actually, it's really perfect. That's how it works. So inside a component, we can identify what the route parameter is. So I'll create a state object. And inside of it, I will store a property called user. And when the component first loads up, it's going to be an empty string. But then when component did mount fires, we're going to grab that username from the URL and we're going to set the state so that the user then becomes the user from the URL. This set state, and inside of here, user is going to be the user that we just grabbed right here. Now, If you have the same key value pairs like this, ES2015 allows us to write just one of them like this. Okay, so now what we can do over here is output the username, this thing right here. So I'm going to say const, then inside the curly braces, user equals the this.state. Now I get the user inside the state object and assign it to this variable. And I'll just put it inside this h3 tag like so. And let's save that and go to a browser. I'm excited, aren't you? So now we can see that user is logged right here. And if we change this to Uger, then we're going to see that down here. So I'm going to change it to Danny and see that down here. So, all right. Now we know how to use route parameters and how to grab that route parameter inside a component. So that means that the last thing we're going to do is set up the links for these route parameters. So now I'm going to create a couple of cards, and I'll do it inside the contact file. I'll open up a new div and wrap this card. And then I'm going to take this one and copy it, and then paste it one more time. First thing is I want to do, let's import the link from React Router DOM. I'll say import link from React Router DOM. So then I want this h3 tag to be a link. Now we'll select all of those and change to the link. So right now I want these links to navigate us to the card components that we just created. And we want to show each individual card inside this card component. So I'm going to say this link will navigate us to /card/Alex. So now I'm going to do the same for this one. So I'll say /card and /Wilma. Let's change this text as well. So I'll delete this contact and I'll say Alex, and then right here I'll say Wilma. All right. So now we have the link set up and the route parameters are set for each individual user. So anytime that we click on this link, it will navigate us to /card/Alex URL. And in this case, the URL navigates us to the card component. So just as you see right here, our card component has the path of card/user. And in this example here, our user is going to be Alex. And when we click on it, the card component will grab that username. It sets the state to Alex, then shows that data in this card component. Okay, fingers crossed? No, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's save it and test it. All right, so I'm going to click on the contact page and click on Alex. And it will navigate us to this page. It says Alex. Let's go back to the contact page again. This time I'll click on Wilma. Now we can see a different user card. Bada boom. Okay, that's it. Now we've learned how to use the route parameters and how to grab that route parameter inside a component. And I think we also learned how to show different data based on the URL. And, well, so much more. We'll, of course, review it in a little bit. But that's basically the route parameter in a nutshell. That's pretty cool, I think. So let's take a break right here. And when we come back in the next section, guess what? We're going to learn the last important thing about React Router. And it's really important. So come on back. See ya.